Today's episode is a special request, and it's one that is making me have to dig deep and kind of bring back emotions of failure. So I was contacted on Instagram and someone requested that I do an episode talking about how to deal with failure during a residency interview. And so thinking about that automatically put me back into why I currently have a service and why I'm so passionate about helping people accomplish their goals, because my very first residency interview was with the site I wanted to be with the most. And I went in there knowing everything I had to do. I told myself everything that I needed to do to get this interview. I knew what to study, I knew what to review, I knew how to respond to the questions that they would ask. I knew what to do if I didn't know the answer. And yet, when I was in that moment, I don't know what took over me. I'll be honest, I was rushing to answer. As soon as I wouldn't even let them finish the question. I would try to jump in and answer, and I don't know if I was trying to prove I'm super smart or I was trying to, maybe it was an egotistical thing. I don't know what was going on, but all I know is I walked away from that performance, from that interview, and I was like, that was not my best performance. I gotta change that. I gotta learn from this, and I have to improve. So looking back on that experience, one of the things is to definitely take your time, right? I felt for me, it was like as soon as I made one mistake, more mistakes just kept coming. It all went downhill from there after I made one mistake. And you can't let one mistake define you. When you make one mistake, that's an opportune time for you to kind of just stop, take a deep breath, and reassess everything, right? Because the worst thing you can do, one of the worst things you can do in a residency interview is say something with confidence and be completely wrong about what you just said. And best believe I did that. And I was like, crap, dang it. I was beating myself up. I'm like, how are you so stupid? How are you so foolish to do this? You told yourself not to do this and then you did it. And now you're not gonna be able to match with the program that you really wanted to be with. And it's like, you're over with, it's done for. You might as well not even try to do the rest of the interviews. You're so stupid, you're such an idiot. It was a lot of self-blame, a lot of negative talk, a lot of negative speech. And it was tough. It was tough, but what I learned from that experience was that the only way to truly deal with a failure like that is to, one, accept it. Accept all that comes with it. If you're gonna attack yourself, blame yourself, I say, give yourself that day. I gave myself that day to be sad, to be upset, to be frustrated, say bad things to myself, whatever the case may be. And I'm sure if I went through that, I'm sure if you're listening, you've probably gone through that too. So I gave myself that day. But I said, you know what? When I wake up in the morning, the next day is a new day. And since the next day is a new day, that is an opportunity for me to learn from the mistakes that I just made and to make a difference, because I never want to feel that feeling again. Never again. And so I said from that moment forward, I was going to get in touch with people to help me. I reached out to 2 or 3 different people. Thank God they were willing to help me out. One of them, her partner, that's kind of what he does, is interviews. He wasn't in pharmacy, but he does a lot of interviews. And so he gave me a lot of great advice, and we were on the phone. I was on the phone with him and her for 30 minutes to an hour every single day for a week until my next interview. And when my next interview came, I killed it. I was so determined to be successful in the next one that I was just so focused on putting in the work to get there. And so whenever you have that moment of failure and that moment of defeat, I do believe you need to kind of immerse yourself in it. And the reason why is because your feelings matter. I don't want you to not justify your feelings. I want you to be able to kind of tap into it, feel it, but then also remind yourself that this is not something that will be forever. This is not something that will last forever. This is one moment in time. This was one interview. You have 4 more interviews. You have 5 more interviews. You have 6 more. Maybe you only have 1 more. It doesn't matter. But if you have 1 more shot, that's 1 more opportunity to go seal the deal, to go prove to yourself that you are capable of excelling, right? To prove to yourself that you are capable of doing well in a residency interview. So I told myself I'm not going to have any negative talk. I'm not going to say I'm stupid. I'm not going to say I'm done. I'm dumb. What I'm going to say is I'm a workaholic. What I'm going to say is I'm going to be the most prepared residency interview candidate that they ever came across. And I'm going to prepare every single day. And I know it is not easy because if you ask me, I was working 26 hours a week during rotations. And we had residency interviews. 16 hours on the weekend, 10 hours Monday through Friday, on top of rotations, which was 40 hours a week. And you have to do a journal club. And you have a case presentation. And you also have to do a presentation for the residency interview. Trust me, I know. I went through it. It was not easy. But what made it easy for me was the preparation and the dedication that I had to proving myself. And so if you find yourself in that moment where you just did really bad and you need a little vote of confidence, I hope this episode can kind of inspire you that, hey, you're still capable of doing great things, that you're still capable of being amazing. It's okay to immerse yourself in those feelings for that day, but guess what? The next day, we're getting right back to work. We're getting to it. Because the things that made you an excellent student, the things that made you an excellent friend, the things that make you an excellent person are going to be the same things that you need to implement to be an excellent interviewer, to be an excellent interview candidate, right? And so, or instead of interviewer, I guess interviewee, to be a great residency interviewee candidate. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is, what made you a great student was you studied, you rehearsed things, you taught yourself stuff, you went above and beyond. Maybe the book wasn't good enough, maybe you went to YouTube and you started to learn things. Maybe you went to a study hall session. Maybe you got a tutor. You did a lot of different things to help improve your knowledge to get to the point where you're at. You're doing a lot of things right now within pharmacy school to help you retain your knowledge, whether it's Quizlets, flashcards, creating charts, different things. But you prep before the test. So you also have to prep before the interview. And preparation isn't, oh yeah, I know what I'm gonna say, and you just ramble. That's not preparation. That's being specific. If you want, go to my Instagram, and this is like a shameless plug. I'm not trying to force you to go to my Instagram, but go to my Instagram or go to my TikTok at @new_CapsuleRx Podcast. I literally gave y'all a blueprint on how I answered a residency interview question. And that the place that I ended up doing my residency, it was at that location that I ended up doing my residency program at. It was at that location that I gave that answer, and the RPD resonated with my answer, and she absolutely loved it. And we just had a conversation about my response. And that's something that response didn't come from me being able to say it on the spot, like I should have been able to do at the first place I interviewed at that I really wanted to be at. I wasn't able to do it then because I didn't prepare. And so I accepted the fact that I failed. I accepted that. I held myself accountable and I said, you know what? This will not happen again because I'm going to put in the work and prepare myself to be able to execute. And that's exactly what I did. But another thing I want to say is you can also prepare yourself, right? But to execute and to do well. But a lot of times, one of the things I realized from people that I've helped through the services is that they also don't prepare themselves for when things go wrong. They don't prepare themselves for when a random question gets thrown at you and you don't know how to respond to that. And then now you're stuck. Your brain's stuck. You weren't expecting it. And now you're froze. Sometimes you got to be put in those awkward situations in preparation so that way when it comes to the real deal, when it comes to the real interview, you won't get stuck. You don't have a brain freeze. You're able to navigate through the scenario. And that's what a lot of residency interviewers are trying to see. Can you navigate through tough scenarios? There's going to be times, and you can listen back to the episode I had with Kristen. You can listen back to the episode. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago. You can go back and listen to that episode, right? She's a residency coordinator at Duke, and she talks about how we kind of throw these curveballs to kind of see how you're going to be able to handle those situations. Because guess what? In residency, there's going to be a question you never even heard of before by a doctor or a nurse or a patient. How are you going to respond? How are you going to respond? So in those scenarios, in those interviews, there's going to be those questions that you're not always going to know the answer to. And so that's why it's important, even when you're in preparation, don't only prepare for the success part. Prepare, also understanding you're not going to know all the answers. What am I going to say when I don't know the answer? I'm going to practice this. If I'm not going to pay for a service, I'm going to get with my friends, or I'm going to ask my parents, I'm going to ask my professor, academic advisor, somebody. You're going to get somebody to ask you these questions and throw you curveballs to help you prepare. And that's why I can't stress enough the importance of signing up for a service and really, really, really getting the full-on experience. Because I want you all to be successful, and I don't want you to feel the pain that I felt after that first interview. It doesn't feel good. I was debating if I even wanted to talk about this because I didn't want to go back to that experience. Because when you're in such a positive space and you have to go backwards and put yourself back into a negative space, it's not fun. It's not fun. But I know that person needed to hear it, and I know she needed to hear it. I feel like at least 5 more people needed to hear it that I probably know. And if 5 people that I know probably needed to hear it, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands more that needed to hear this message. So it's not about me. The grass looks green on the other side all the time, right? Everything looks good now, but y'all don't see the struggles and the failures I had to get to this point. That wasn't documented. So if you listen to this, you didn't do well with your residency interview, and you're wondering, how do I come back from this? Just know it's not over, okay? No matter how bad you did, I want you to understand that if you have more interviews, there's another opportunity to excel. And what you're going to do is prepare your butt off to not be in that shoes, to not be in that situation again, to not feel that again, to not feel the negative self-talk, to not have to tell yourself you're dumb, you're stupid, how could you do this, how could you let this happen, to not let it kill your whole weekend vibe, to not let it affect your whole week. Because guess what? You still got rotations. And rotations is a job interview. So you still have work to do. It's not done yet. The work is not done yet. You still have to get through the rest of 4th year. You still have more interviews to come. So you can immerse yourself for that day. And I'm one of those, I say do it. The reason why is because I think it's important for you to accept the emotions, accept your emotions, accept the failure, but also accept the fact that you have the ability to change those negative moments into positive ones. Even if that was your only interview, even if that was your last interview, guess what? If it doesn't work out with the match process, there's a second round. And trust me, every single year, I always look to see what programs are available. There's always some top incredible programs that are still available in the match process. So don't feel bad if you don't get in first time around. It's not over yet. Your story is not finished. You will not be defined by that one failure in your head. You will not be defined by that one moment of not being able to succeed the way you envisioned. Because guess what? Things will not always go as planned. But just because you're not going from A to B doesn't mean you can't go from A to D and then get to B. There's always going to be different ways that people get to the same end goal. It's not always a straight path. Sometimes it's zigzag. Sometimes it crisscrosses. Sometimes you take 5 steps forward, you take 10 steps back, and then you take 20 steps forward. You don't know how your life will be. But what I will say is that it will all work out if you promise yourself you're going to put in the work and taking the time and prepare yourself not only to do well, but prepare yourself for when things go bad. Because that is true preparation. Because things will not always go well in your life. You also have to prepare for when bad times come. You also have to prepare when the bad times come. And so if you're listening to this, it's unfortunate that you feel this way. I am so sorry to hear that you didn't do as well as you envision yourself doing. I can't relate to exactly how you feel. But what I can say is that that feeling, you can either let it last forever or you can have it fade. And if you choose to have it fade away, it's because you are going to take the necessary steps to turn that failure into a success story. It's your life. There was only one chapter in your book. Chapter 1 is closed. What will chapter 2 be? And so with that, that's all I want to do. Just have a little heart-to-heart with everybody. I appreciate you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've been getting new subscribers on YouTube, new followers on LinkedIn, which is actually one of the places I wanted to grow more this year. So I just want to say I'm super thankful for everybody that's been following and commenting on the content. And because I know what failure feels like, and because I failed so much, I just want to let anybody that's listening to this know that one like, one comment, one follow, one subscription, it means the world to me, because you didn't have to do that. So if you think for 1 second that you don't matter, trust me, to CapsuleRx Podcast, to Dr. Joven Lazo, like, you matter. It means the world to me to have one person be able to have one view. I have content that sometimes doesn't get the highest views, and I'm okay with that. I have some content that got thousands of views. And I don't know thousands of people, so that's amazing. But I also honestly don't know hundreds of people. So the fact that even 100 people are willing to watch something, or 5 people are willing to like or comment, thank you. Because that is genuine support, and that helps our channel grow, and that helps us become the best version of ourselves that we can be. And so, just want to say thank you guys. I hope you all have an incredible week. If you feel like you've been failing in anything, maybe it's a residency interview, maybe it's a job interview, maybe it's you're a pharmacy student and you didn't do too well on an exam. Well, let's take this as a learning experience for us to be better prepared for the next time. What went wrong, and how can we fix that? You didn't anticipate these certain things, these types of questions. Well, now you can anticipate that, because it happened. But once again, guys, Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited for what 2024 will bring to you all and to me. Honestly, I'm kind of excited what we can be able to do this year with the podcast. We've been growing on the socials, and it's mainly because of you all. Like, I know it's an algorithm, but to me it's an audience, and the audience is you. And so with every like, comment, follow, share that you all do, it helps us grow, and I'm super thankful for that, because you don't have to do it. You don't have to, and you choose to. So that means you care about what we're doing. And so if you care about what we're doing, I definitely want to let you know that we care about you too, and we're thankful for you. And if you want to get in contact with us just to have a quick chat, I meet with people all the time, so I love connecting with people. I would love to hear from you. Please DM me, message me, email me, doesn't matter. All social media platforms at @new_CapsuleRx Podcast. And if you're going to LinkedIn, it'll just be CapsuleRx Podcast. You can find us there. I'm so thankful for all the love and support. I say it 1,000 times because it's so genuine, it's so real, and it's so unbelievable to me that people actually like listen to me. And I have people who genuinely support me and want the best for the podcast, and I just want nothing but the best for them. And if this message resonates with you, please feel free to message me. Feel free to message me. Let's talk about it. Let's help. I want to do whatever I can within me to help you get out of this rut, to help you be successful, because that's what it's all about to me. And so thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to tune in on Fridays, Quick Tip Fridays. That's something new that we're doing. It's usually about 5 minutes talking about different topics. So definitely check us out on Fridays as well. So not only Mondays, we're also posting content on Fridays. Then throughout the week, you know, you always see clips and different things like that on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. So thank you guys for listening. Appreciate the love and support. Hope you have an amazing day. We're here for you. Never forget that. Appreciate the love.